Hi, my name is Mandolin Royal, and today I'm going to be doing some meal prep for our finishing feed. The goal is to get 1 cup per day at minimum into each bird. And the purpose of this meal prep is to avoid spoilage from having feed soak too long, and to also make serving it a little easier. So I'm going to be pre-filling these 1-quart jars with just the dry mix. Each one of these jars is 3 cups. Each cup is roughly the serving size per day per bird. So each of these jars is going to serve 3 birds. And I'm going to fill it up to the dry marking on the 1 cup measurements. And that leaves us headspace to add the milk for the 24 hours soaking. So typically what I would do is add the milk the day before I'm going to be feeding it. I'm going to be using buttermilk. We buy into a herd share for raw milk, and this is the leftover product from making butter. Rather than giving up our whole milk, I'm going to give up the buttermilk, and we'll use that. So as far as the mix, I have my 1 cup measuring tool. We're going to do 1 cup of their regular 20% all-flock grower feed. And that's because of the length of time we're going to be finishing. We're doing a 4-week finish right when they're still growing. So I don't want to totally deprive them of protein, and I also want to keep nutrition going. We're also be using 1 cup cracked corn. That's going to be the bulk of the fattening. And then we're also going to use 1 cup of wheat berries. And I am going to make sure they have some grit in there so they can more efficiently grind through the wheat. So essentially it's 1 cup of each, which will get our 3 cup filling amounts. And if we weigh it, it's going to be just over that needed 1/4 pound per day. I'm going to go ahead and prep a whole case of jars and then keep that going. So I've put in our thirds. I'm going to put the lid on it and give it a little shake to mix it. It's going to mix a lot better dry than if it's wet with the milk. This is the one I'm going to use tomorrow. In hindsight, maybe I should have brought a funnel. Should be able to get through this without making too big of a mess. Gonna put the lid back on there. Give it another shake. And everything in here is going to absorb this milk, so it's not going to be a soup to them. It's going to be more like a thick gruel, and they're more likely to eat all of it down that way. I like to experiment with our finishing. In the pursuit of finding that method we love the most. So this time I'm keeping some of their regular feed as part of the mix. We're adding in the wheat instead of just doing corn. In France, they use a blend of locally grown grains. And the blend method seems like a good idea to me. I don't want them to feel like they're craving. I want them to feel perfectly satisfied with their diet and continue to sit around and get fat until their processing day. The rest of this is probably going to be pretty boring because I'm really just mixing it up. In the past, I have used sweet feed as part of the mix. It has molasses in there, which is like a sweetener. And some of that sweetness can transfer into the bird. So you could use that during a shorter finishing phase. If you're doing a 2-week finish, you don't have to worry quite so much about the actual nutritional content. But sweet feed is only a 12% protein, so it's not something you want to give them a whole bunch of outside of finishing. It's more of a treat, which they don't really need if they're getting good free range and good forage. Forgot to shake that one. Forgot to shake that one too. I think I like this blend though. This might be the one that does everything I need it to do. But we'll find out here in 4 weeks when we do the processing and we compare them to those birds that did not get the special finishing. We'll be able to see the fat development. We'll be able to get weights, see where they finished in the meat content area. I'm pretty excited. It's probably been 2 years since we bothered to do a special finishing. Normally we just pull them off the pasture the day before because they do taste like good chicken, but the texture differences is where people might be surprised in that difference if they're switching from Cornish cross into a slower grown bird. There can be a significant difference in the meat texture, especially in the thighs. And that has to do with how much exercise they got and also their feed and how long they were able to grow. Especially when you get past that 20-week point in age. A 22-week-old bird is going to have a lot firmer texture than a 16-week-old bird. And the birds we're finishing, these guys didn't have the benefit of full-time pasture because they were grown out over the winter. So they already didn't get as much exercise as birds grown out from April, May, June, July, August, September. Those birds get the workout. Alright, I don't have much more to say about this topic other than getting excited for the results. So more on this later. I'm gonna keep mixing.